Oxford from the inside. The good, the bad, but always the truth.
Hello and welcome to Oxford from the Inside, episode 3. I am your host, Junaid. I study medicine at Trinity College and I'll be going into my third year in October. And I'm very excited to host my first episode today with my lovely guests, Ieuan and Memoona. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Memoona. I've just finished my second year studying experimental psychology at University College.
And I'm Ieuan. I've just finished studying biochemistry, my first year at Trinity.
Brilliant. So Ieuan and Memoona are both my friends. Memoona I know from many years ago. I think it goes back to
2011.
2011. And Ieuan I met at Trinity last year. So here we go. Oxford from the inside, networking. That is what we love to see.
We love it.
Brilliant. So yes, today we're discussing the question, how do you choose a college? This is a big question and definitely something looking back as a year 12 student, first thinking of applying to Oxford is something I didn't really know how to answer. It was the first question I got asked and I was like, oh, what is a college? What are the differences? I had no clue what to say. So hopefully with today's episode, we will demystify the whole process for you, talking a bit about what an Oxford college is, firstly, what colleges are like. Memoona and Ieuan will talk about their experiences at their colleges and how you go about choosing a college and whether it makes a big difference in the end. All that to come and more in today's episode.
Exciting.
So first, let's talk a bit about what an Oxford college is. So Oxford University is a little bit different to other universities in the fact that there's no central university campus. Instead, the university is split across multiple sort of mini campuses, which are the colleges. So every student who's gone to Oxford ever is part of or has been part of a department where they study their course. So that'll be where they do their lectures and practicals and such. And they'll also be part of a college, which is where you have the smaller scale teaching, such as tutorials, which I'm sure we'll talk about at a later date on a different episode. And pretty much where students just spend most of their lives, really, in terms of living and eating and all sorts of other college events that happen. So it's a thing specific to Oxford University and definitely something that makes Oxford unique and Cambridge, actually, it must be said.
The other place.
The other one.
The mention, the token mention for Cambridge there in our show. So yes, that is a little bit about colleges. I will, if you're watching on YouTube, I will include a few more links in the description as to information about that, which you can have a look at in your own time. But for now, Ieuan and Memoona, would you guys like to tell us a bit about your college and what it's like?
Yeah, so UNIP is on the High Street, which is kind of the centre of Oxford. And it's not too big, it's not too small, it's a really lovely environment. It's sort of big enough that there are 2 libraries and you can always find yourself a corner in which to sort of hide away in if you need to. And equally, you can always step around the corner and find a group of people. So I really love being at UNIV. I'm sad that it's going to be my final year in October. So yeah, that's UNIV for me.
And I really like Trinity. I really enjoy the fact that you can just walk out your door, you just bump into a friendly face, everybody greets you. I really enjoy the campus as well. It's a really beautiful college. It's a really great feel.
Yeah, that's really lovely.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Especially
yes, of course, as someone from Trinity, I've got to agree here. Try not to be too biased as a host, but yes,
it's
kind of outnumbered 2-1.
certainly a very beautiful college. So well, I'm really glad to hear both of you have very positive experiences of your college. How did you go about choosing that college, both of you?
So the first thing that you really do is that you choose your subject, and then the uni website has this tool where you can find all the colleges that offer your subject. So that's the first sort of barrier to get through. And that when I had this list of colleges, I basically checked out all of their websites, made a list of the ones that I like the sound of, like the feel of, and I checked those out on the open day. And as it so happens, I walked into Univ and I immediately sort of had that feeling of like, yeah, this is my place. So that's how I picked mine. But yeah, Lewin, how did you pick yours?
I picked mine. Well, again, I didn't have a lot of thought, I guess, picking my college. It was sort of more like on the spur of the moment, for the simple reason that I basically whittled down the number of colleges based on proximity, because I thought, nearest the centre of town is probably best because it'd be closer to where my lectures and also like the sports centre. I tried to get like bang in the middle. Then I got down to about 8, and on the open day I went to, I was really stuck for which one to go to, and not gonna lie, my dad went, let's go to Trinity because that's the main one I've heard of. So we went to Trinity and for the open day, and the student helpers were really friendly. And I don't want to sound like cliche, but I really did sort of feel like I fell in love with the place. It's such a pretty college. Everyone's really friendly. Like I really could see myself like walking around there, like being, I guess, just present in the community there. So
I can relate to that feeling, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's definitely some advice that I got told. I can't remember by who, but I was told that when looking for a college, you've really just got to see whether it's somewhere that you can see yourself living for the next, in my case, potentially 6 years, but for however long your degree is, normal degrees, just whether you see yourself being in that place and enjoying being there. I think both of you mentioned you felt like it was just the right place for you.
Yeah.
And that's really lovely to see. So both of you mentioned the open day as well. Would you say that was a very important point for you to actually see what it's like?
Yeah, definitely. It's a key moment, and I definitely recommend, if you can, to try and make it to the open day. I know that's not possible for everyone, and if it's not possible for you, check out all the online resources that they put out on open days, giving you sort of tours and things, and just try and see which one feels right and which, like, where you would see yourself, as you said, Junaid.
Yeah, I agree as well. The tours are really helpful. For Barco issues specifically, we had like a little chat with sort of the main tutor at Trinity, and he told us like a bit more about the course, like more like it was a very like useful chat. So I really came away from the open day feeling like I'd gained a lot from it.
Yeah, you hear from the students who are studying there, so it's really valuable.
Yes. Yeah, and I think at the moment as well, obviously with the current situation and the next open day, I'm not sure whether it will go ahead as they normally should do, but I think a lot of colleges are doing a lot of stuff online. So do make sure, as Memoona said, that you check that. Not only the central university, but individual colleges have their own websites and social media and all sorts of stuff. So yes, just to echo that point, definitely do check all of that out. So I guess I hear mixed answers to the question of whether you need to research it that much. I think Memoona, you mentioned that you did a bit. Ieuan, you said you shortlisted a few. So what would you guys think about the idea of researching or putting in a lot of work into finding out about all the colleges? Because there are many. There are some.
Yeah,
I think
there
over 30 colleges.
It's easy to get really, really bogged down with making that decision, and it's just important at that point to remind yourself that okay, it's not that deep. I need to sort of. I think looking back, the advice that I would give is to go with what your priorities are, not with what everyone else's priorities are. You're the one that's going to be living there for 3 to 6 years, and yeah, just do your best to make the decision, make an informed decision. So do a little bit of research, but don't spend hours and hours just scrolling through websites. So I think that's maybe counterproductive.
What's an example of those sort of things you might want to prioritize when looking for a college?
Well, it could be like being near a kitchen, being near your department, the nearest supermarket, or like the gym facilities. There are like 100 things that could be your priority. And for me, my priority was being sort of central. and being near like supermarkets. So uni for me was perfect with that. But yeah, look at what your priorities are.
There's one thing that it's again down to personal preference, but say if you're
Yeah.
a musician or you like playing piano, you want to consider like where you've got easy access to pianos, because Trinity has a few of those, and that was one of the things I did consider when I was choosing my colleges. But I'd probably say, again, pick 2 things you want to prioritize, do a little short list, and then don't spend hours and hours going through it. But it does help to sort of, you want to get a college where you have what you need available to you. So doing a bit preliminary research is useful, but don't overstress yourself, especially when you've got A-levels and all the like complicated stuff you need to sort out like imminently.
I think with experience, whichever college you end up at, you're usually happy. And I've met people who interviewed at one college and actually then got a place at a different college, but they're really happy there. So don't stress too much about the process. It'll go through.
Yes, that's an important point, actually. It's worth saying. When we talk about choosing a college, that is talking about specifying on your UCAS form your preference for a college. It doesn't necessarily mean that is actually the college that your application will get handed to. If a college is super oversubscribed, then it will just have to go somewhere else. Equally, you're allowed to just say you don't mind and have an open application. Students end up at colleges they didn't apply to originally. Students obviously do end up at the colleges they apply to. So there's a whole mix of things that can happen. The admissions process is a big process.
And there's also nothing wrong with not ending up at the college that you wanted to go to. Like you've got an into Oxford. That's a huge thing. So don't be too upset if that happens as well. You will love it there. So
yes,
yeah.
That's another classic question that we get at open days, is whether there's any academic reason for choosing a college over another.
Yeah.
In terms of ranging from what is the best college for X degree, or which college is it easiest to get into for this subject. The answer to that question is it's just irrelevant, because the tutors do talk to each other from that department level organization that I mentioned before, and applications are shared around, and ultimately the tutors do just want to get the best candidates into the university. So it's not a case of which college is the easiest to apply to. And like Memoona was just saying, if you end up at a different college, that doesn't necessarily mean that you were just not as good as those people. It just means they had many good people and they wanted to keep all of you, but they couldn't in the same college. So that's, thank you, Memoona. That's definitely an important point to talk about when mentioning choosing a college, for sure.
I think people definitely need to think along the lines of this. It's not about like you have to get into Oxford, so you need to pick the easiest route available to you. You want to make sure you've got, I guess, sort of a personalised approach. Like you want to end up somewhere you can't 100% know, but have the best chance of, I guess, enjoying yourself. And you want to focus on what you feel rather than getting the easiest approach, so to speak. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, that's a real good point. Yeah.
So going on actually to talk little bit about the admissions process. Interviews are different at Oxford, I think to any other university that I've heard of, in the sense that they do interviews at Oxford over a period of days. So candidates will go to Oxford University and stay there in a college. It might be the college that they specified on their UCAS form, and they will be interviewed while they're staying there for, I think, from 2 to 4 days. I think is that right? Up to 4 days.
Yeah, it can really vary.
It can vary. So and that's really cool, because that's the first experience of actually being at Oxford, kind of experiencing what it would be like to live at Oxford. So Ieuan, I know you interviewed at Trinity, of course, and you stayed there. Memoona, I understand you had a Skype interview, but you were a student helper at University College. So we've got both sides of the interview dynamic here, with student helpers who are there to basically just make the students feel at home while they're there, and Ieuan, who's been one of those students being helped. So so what are you guys' thoughts on experiencing a college for the first time at interview?
Ieuan, do you want to go first on this one, since you actually experienced the full process?
Yeah, sure. I gotta say, I didn't expect it when I first went, but I really enjoyed the social aspect of interviews. Like in the JCR, I thought the Trinity JCR was run really well by the student helpers. And when I had my, I think it was my third interview, because at Trinity you had an extra interview or something along the lines. Because I had to go to Magdalen for my third interview, and at first I was like, oh no, I'm going to try and find this college. I don't know where it is. I've never heard of it since now. But I was taken by one of the Trinity helpers, and again, I thought they helped me find they helped me find Magdalen. I'm very thankful for that, to be honest.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot going on at interview, of course. Being interviewed, finding colleges. Did you get an aspect, or did you get a sense of the aspect of a college community at the time you were there? Ewan,
Within the JCR during interviews, you mean? Like,
yeah,
already?
within generally. Yes.
Well, I like to think I got on really well with people at interviews. I've made some friends in interviews, in the JCR, that I've still kept and I'm really good friends with now. So really, I'm thankful I decided to focus on socializing and making friends rather than shutting myself up in a room and frantically trying to memorize all the passages in my textbook.
Yeah.
Because I think it really did pay off. And I would have think if I had done that, like, I don't know, I wouldn't have enjoyed interviews at all, and I wouldn't have the friends either I'd have now. Well, I'd be like less likely to have made them.
Yeah, no, that's really, really valuable to hear. Memoona, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I think you mentioned being taken to a different college by a student helper. From the side of helping to run interviews last year, I think without the student helpers, the colleges would have a lot of trouble actually organising this huge sort of, you've got to have X, Y, and Z here at this time, and then they need to be taken here. I think I had a really good time helping the students out, because you can see that it's effectively you're walking into an alien environment full of strangers. You're asked to live there for a few days and have academic discussions with the leading researchers in those fields. It's a lot to ask, and I think it's like, personally, UNIV has done a great job with how they organise them, because we smoothed out the whole process with, like, from the minute that they walk through the door, we are kind of managing them and where they are, and making sure that they're there on time and they have everything they need. So yeah, it's a exciting and nerve-wracking process, very unique to Oxford. So yeah.
Would you say that it would be a factor in students deciding whether Oxford is a place for them?
Yeah, for sure. It's your first real chance to have this tutorial-like discussion with tutors.
Yes, definitely.
And it's honestly, it's really enjoyable, because you get to talk about the things that you're passionate about, and it's really conversational. And I think if you enjoy that style of teaching, enjoy like the sort of the balanced and the sort of hints and nudges that the tutors give you to help you with your thought process, I think that it's a huge point that helps with your decision making in choosing whether Oxford's right for you.
Yeah, definitely. So now that you guys are obviously both at Oxford, what are your thoughts on the college system now, from the inside, if it were?
From the inside.
Would you, I mean, you've talked a little bit about this already, but would you do anything differently if you could speak to your past self and give them any advice about choosing a college?
Yeah, I mean, I touched on it earlier, but I would just tell myself to think about my own priorities rather than anyone else's. Like, I love UNIV, and I can't lie when I say there are some colleges that I just wish that I'd given the chance and looked at in the open day, because I went very sort of narrow-minded on the open day and only went and saw 2 or 3 when really I should have seen a few more than that. but yeah, keep an open mind. I think that's what I would say.
Ewan?
Yeah, I kind of wish I'd been more strategic when I was visiting colleges, because it's on the open day. I spent quite a long time at Trinity, and it probably been smarter to try and visit more colleges. To
You just
sort of
love
make
Trinity
more...
too much. There we go.
No, I came to Trinity. And I really liked it. I guess I just got really lucky. But going into it, if I'd basically, I don't know why. I was rather whimsical with like, I'll just go to one college, and I was like, okay, this is really nice. I probably would have said, okay, you need to probably look around a bit more, but make sure you go to Trinity, of course.
Yes. There we go. Plugging Trinity. But I guess a sense of what you're saying is that I think Memoona also you mentioned earlier, it just might not be that deep, in the sense that students tend to enjoy where they are. There's a lot of colleges. It would be difficult to go to all of them anyway if you did try to on one open day. So yeah.
It'd be hard to make a wrong decision. Like
Yes.
I don't think you could really make a wrong decision. I think just go find out what colleges offer your subject and just see which one you feel.
What do you
Definitely
both think about? Oh, sorry, did you want to just go first?
I'd say, like, I definitely think you should try and spend like an adequate amount of time at each college. Like, you may think, okay, going around more colleges is better than going around a few, but if you just zip in and out, try and speed run them, so to speak, you're not going to get a feel for the college or talk to student helpers. So I guess with like your shortlist, make sure like you do spend adequate time around a few of them. Again, that's what I'd say to my past self.
What do you both think about the idea of college reputations? I asked this question because when I first decided on Trinity, I instantly was told all sorts of things about the gender ratio at Trinity, the political inclinations of people at Trinity, all sorts of things, which now I can say are not true. But yeah, so what would you guys think about having come to Oxford and experienced the college system and met people from all sorts of colleges? Do you think that colleges have a particular reputation, and does that have any impact on people that go there or the people that apply there?
I mean, I love talking about college reputations because I feel that they exist and they maybe have like a little bit of truth to them, but they're not much to go on. Like every year the intake of students changes, and it's not like like you said, Junaid, Trinity is a male dominant college. Like that's not always the case. And I mean, Univ is lovely in that way because it has no discernible reputation. I think our reputation is kind of being like kind of good at everything, but just like not so good that we win like sports matches and stuff.
Not on a pedestal.
Yeah, it's not something that you should really base your decision on, I think.
Yeah, and just to confirm, I can say, and I'm sure you will agree, Trinity does not have any such male dominance in terms of its gender ratio or anything like that. That was really one of the wildest rumors that I've heard.
Again, I'm pretty certain that there's more. I think it's like lopsided in the other direction for a first year, but I'm not too sure. I decided that was rather equal. I never thought it was more dominant.
Yes, Ewan, were you going to add something on that question also?
Ewan? I was going to say, like, again, I was a bit out of the loop. The only college reputation I heard was about Trinity having really good food, which is in fact true. But again, I wouldn't base too much, I guess, opinion on the rumours. It's always better to go off your own experiences, your own, I guess, intuition, rather than other people's, because you don't know the validity of them. They could be making stuff up just to sort of downbeat other colleges. Again, I personally think you should disregard most rumours and go off of how you feel, rather than assume how other people are feeling the way they say they are.
Yeah, I think that's really valuable advice. So just to end on this this note, having discussed all of this, how big an impact do you think a college has on your university life generally? Is it a big impact? Is it not really that different? What do you guys think?
I think it's a big, definitely a big impact. But I'd like to stress that it doesn't matter which college you go to have that big impact. You'll have that whatever college you'll end up at. It really does affect your time there, because you spend most of your time in college. You talk to college welfare staff if you have a problem, and for me it's really those sort of conversations that you have when you bump into people around college. It's like having a huge family. Yeah, I don't know what you think, Ewan.
I just enjoy. Sorry, my screen froze for a second. I thought my Wi-Fi crashed again. I was like, I really enjoy just being able to walk around and everyone's really friendly. They greet you when they see you. Being able to just walk out a door through another one, and you can just basically knock on a friend's door. I really enjoy that, and also meeting up with people in the JCR as well. I quite like those facilities as well. Friday night game night, always.
And JCR is Junior Common Room. I will just to explain for anyone listening. Yes, that's fine. I'm sure they would have listened up to this point, so why wouldn't they, right? So there you go. Yes. So thank you very much, Memoona and Ieuan, for sharing with us your experiences and your ideas. I think it's been a very, of course, very happy to have you. Thank you for having me as your first, well, as the host of this show. I'm very.
You've been a very gracious host.
What can I say? Thank you very much. The rest of the Oxford from the Inside people will see that. There you go. Yes. So I think it's been a really, really productive discussion, and I hope any prospective students watching or listening do gain something from this, and hear a bit about what hopefully just demystify this idea of what a college is, and just understand a little bit more about how you go about choosing them, what impact it makes, and all that sorts of stuff. I hope it's been very helpful. Thank you very much for listening and for watching. Make sure you check us out on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram at Oxford from the Inside, and check out our Facebook page, Oxford from the Inside, for regular updates on our content. I hope you all stay safe and well, and I will see you in the next one.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.